This picture is banned, conveyed the censor board. But Shantaram's friend and film distributor Babu Rao responded with the officials who demanded that the film be retitled, a few scenes be modified, and that the flag hoisting in the climax be entirely deleted. And therefore Swaraj Toran was renamed Uday Kal and finally released. Armed with the proverbial pen, our filmmakers were fighting their battle against the hegemony of a haughty empire. Close to 24 films were released between 21 and 1947 that either obviously or obliquely depicted the British as oppressors. The British Indian censors made every possible attempt to throttle such messages. To fight them, India needed to be socially united and progressive. That was precisely the message in the 1937 classic Duniya Na Mane, which also raised a voice against unfair marriages and advocated widow remarriage. The British censors interfered once again, ordering the removal of documentary footage of Vallabhbhai Patel making a speech about abstinence. Brandy Ki Botal, 1939, criticized liquor consumption and exhorted Gandhian morality, while Ghar Ki Rani in 1940 showed the dire consequences of aping Western traditions. Though these messages started receiving the support of the country's nationalistic leaders, the films had a very hard time at the censor board. Indian film directors were forced to find ways to talk about the ongoing freedom struggle without mentioning it directly. You must remember the famous song Dur Hato Hai Duniya Walo, the hit musical number from the 1943 feature film called Kismat. It was ostensibly made as a warning to the Germans and the Japanese, but the actual target was clearly the British. Historical films like Umaji Naik in 1926 that replaced the British with other invading forces, and social films like Apna Ghar in 1942, which spoke in a kind of code to Indian viewers, started several agitations all over the country. It wasn't just a case of official paranoia over feature films and newsreels. As the freedom movement picked up pace, the ruling members of the Raj became more and more inflexible. And the empire did not wait to strike back. As a counter-strategy to patriotic Hindi films, the British released English-language films deemed objectionable to Indian sensibilities. The drum made in 1938 showed all Indians as untrustworthy and scheming against their British masters. Bombay City rose in revolt against a screening with the frontier Gandhi, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, demanding its immediate ban. The 1938 edition of Film India magazine called it a shameful affront to the frontier Pathans. The Lives of a Bengal Lancer, made in 1935, also met with stiff opposition in Lahore for its disrespectful portrayal of Muslims. Unafraid to retaliate, our cinema posters, they got bolder. Bringing light to a vexed nation was the tagline of Chal Chal Re Naujawan in 1944. While Turn East and Hear India Speak was the tagline of Prabhat's Hum Ek Hain in 1946. Ek Kadam in 1947 went to the extent of showing Netaji Subhash Bose in one of its posters. With these never-ending confrontations in the 1940s, the policing of Indian cinema grew exasperatingly stringent. To put it mildly, over the rigmarole of 5 different censor boards setting up their own rules, things were chaotic. Finally, the 1952 Cinematograph Act set out the structure of censorship as it stands today, upheld by the Film Certification Board. But even now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure my colleagues on stage will agree, questions are being raised on civil liberties and freedom of expression. Since those early times, there have been many changes in cinema content, production, star system, and the way films are viewed by audiences. Subjects have also been vastly varied. From mythological films, socialist cinema like the films of Bimal Roy, Chetan Anand and Raj Kapoor, with his Chaplin-inspired tramp as the protagonist, art house cinema, the advent of the angry young man of the 70s and 80s, viewed against the frustration of countless unemployed youth, to the current brand of historicals, couched in fictionalized jingoism, along with moral policing. The range has kept audiences reflecting on the politics and social concerns of our times through single screens, videos, multiplexes, and now the burgeoning OTT. Keeping in mind the new world order brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, we will have to take into account how films are going to be made and watched in the near future. Perhaps the clue lies in the works of our timeless cinema maestros. Nearer home, there may be pointers in Satyajit Ray's cinema which reveal a politically and socially conscious and often prescient vision of Bengal, India, and humanity. Manik Das films, while remaining culturally rooted in Bengal, speak on universal themes like the immortal Apu trilogy. His cinema, ladies and gentlemen, is a reflection of the dreams, aspirations, struggles, angst, challenges, and corrosiveness of India's plurality.